Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ANTICS. I'm here with my guest, Gavin Pricer.
And I'm here with Cameron King, the only one to ever exist.
I'm here with the Gavin Pricer.
Oh, don't.
The only one to ever exist. Hans from Frozen.
Oh, wow.
Hans from Frozen. Gavin, you were Hans from Frozen, were you not?
I am Hans from Frozen. I still have performances Friday and Saturday, actually.
Oh, snap. Catch your boy, Gavin Pricer. Where at, Gavin?
Please don't, actually.
Where can we catch Hans from Frozen? This is actually just a promo. This is your press tour.
Like a 30-minute promo? That's crazy.
30-minute press tour. Oh, chill out, Kanye.
Oh, wow. Kanye's calling on this. No, that's Drake.
No, just kidding. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I have an alarm that goes off every single day at 6:17 exactly.
Why? Is that like your birthday or something?
Nope, my birthday is April Fool's Day.
Oh. So why do you have an alarm that...
Because it lets me know if my day is going by too fast. And I'm like, okay, it's 6:17. This is how I got like 4 hours till I gotta like...
So it's a reality check.
It's a reality check.
Every day.
Every day.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Every day is a reality check.
Wow. That is depressing.
So, Gavin.
Yeah.
Why is that depressing?
Well, okay. Here's the thing, right? If you're getting a reality check every day, you're just consciously aware of your existence as a human, right?
Okay.
And then, like, putting that sort of stress on you, like, at 6:17, I don't know why specifically that time, but just having that awareness of, like, oh, I only have 4 hours left before I go to sleep, and I wake up, and I do it again. Like, that's how I see it in, like, the most grim way I could.
Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think you focus on that grim side of that?
That's easier. The logical side of life. Yeah, the logical side of life is much easier.
There's realism is... I've had a good number of philosophical conversations with people in the past 3 days, Gavin.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I've come to the conclusion that human nature is negative.
Negative or logical? Because that's the real question.
I think logic is negative due to the fact that we know we're going to inherently die.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So, do you think logic is self-preservation, though? Or is it, I must do what's good for me in this moment?
Well, you know what? I have that logic, right? We all have that logic. We all know we're going to die.
Sure, yeah.
However, if we don't pay attention to it 24/7, I feel it causes or aids in a better quality of life.
So if we desensitize ourselves in a way...
Yeah.
To the horrors
to the logic.
To the logic.
Because if we're thinking logically, you think that it's a depressing thing.
Sure, yeah.
That every day is a reality check.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find that...
Is that comforting to you?
Yes.
It's comforting to you?
Comforting.
To know...
Was it comforting to you?
To have, like, a reality check? Like...
To view that as depressing.
I know that was funny. I mean, in a way, yeah. I mean, if everything can stay in its own categories, that's great. Like, for me, in my mind, if I can keep certain things in check and not have them change, that's great to me. So yeah, I wouldn't change my view immediately just because I hear somebody else's point of view on it.
I think that's a very wise point.
Yeah.
Because when you think about your ability to change your own worldview, it's easier said than done. You know?
I mean, that changes your whole life.
It changes your whole life. It changes your motivation to wake up in the morning, you know?
That changes how you view the past, changes how you view the future.
Yeah, dude.
It's crazy how our own brains are so self-destructive and also so amazing at the same time.
Yeah. Why do you think they're so self-destructive? Like, what do you explain that? Further elaborate.
Well, this is me personally.
Mm-hmm.
My brain. I don't know how anybody else's brain works, but sometimes I'll have these moments where I'll realize that I am only myself, and I can only recognize myself. But the reason I think they're self-destructive is because we as humans strive towards things. We started as people who hunted to get stuff. We were always doing something. But now we don't have to do things as much. We have school. But some people are not as motivated by school. So our brains are self-destructive because we're not doing enough. And people who are busy are usually less focused on questioning themselves. So
people who are busy
yeah,
are less focused on questioning themselves
and
because
that can
they
be
have so much to do.
Yeah, and that can be a good and bad thing. It means they could be unaware of what's going on around them. Or it could mean they're doing what they love.
When you say they,
Yeah.
are you referring to yourself or just like generalizing human nature?
I'm talking about like the people mid-20s, maybe early 30s. The people who have their life together, generally. I'm talking about those people specifically. And I wouldn't say they're a majority, but they exist. So those are the people who have their set mindsets, and they will go forward, and they're busy, and they don't need to worry as much. Right? And so they aren't the ones who have their brains collapsing in on themselves as much.
So, Gavin, when you say we don't have a lot of things to worry about, and you immediately jump to school,
Yeah.
what my mind when you said that went to like grocery stores. Like we don't have to hunt and gather food anymore because we have grocery stores. So why do you think your mind went to school?
My mind went to school because that's what most teenagers worry about most.
So
we
that-
don't usually, and I'm not speaking for everybody, a lot of people have financial struggles and do worry about meal to meal, but I'd say the majority have, especially in this area, in our little bubble of San Ramon, mostly just worry about grades. So that's why I immediately went to work, school, not work, get food. And it's crazy how we've adapted from that. And our not to drop the word too early, but society has evolved.
Society has evolved.
It's
Absolutely.
evolved. And it's changed us in many ways.
That's human nature. It's human nature to evolve. So then, think about this. Why do you think there's such an apprehension to evolve people's ways of thinking when it comes to fixing social issues in government?
Okay, so do you mean like
Poverty,
yeah? So you mean like social
gun
movements, like
violence,
reform movements?
reform movements. Why is there
So why do
such-
people care?
Yes, in
Okay.
your mind.
See, people. I think logic is self-preservation.
Mhm.
Stay alive, have fun if you can, but stay alive mostly. And these people they are doing that for themselves in a way. It is a way of self-preservation. Gun regulation is a way of self-preservation. And it's obviously a selfless one, because a lot of other people are being affected by that. And also poverty. Being overrun and having so many people be homeless, it creates an unsanitary environment. So it's bad for everybody. So it is, in a way, self-preservation. And emotion does take a part in that.
I want you to elaborate there a little bit because when I'm looking at the issue of like poverty in America,
Yeah.
when you look at that through the lens of a politician, like
Right, I'll try.
how is it self-preservation to not give your time to this issue? Because in what I'm seeing in a lot of is that on news cycles there's not a lot of talk about it in particular. It's more focusing on whatever ridiculous antics Trump's up to and the impeachment. The impeachment, I truly feel, is a gigantic waste of time. I think it's just like them just moving, like it's just another like segment in the news. Like it's just a talking point for these people. Like,
And I see what you're saying. You're saying
it's just like one last like hurrah for the Democrats to try, but I don't even like. I don't know. If they do impeach him, it's like sick. Now we get Mike Pence, you know. It's like great, but I don't know. It feels.
But your original point is saying like why are we so focused on politics instead of actual social reform? Things we know.
I got off on a tangent.
You did get a little bit off on a tangent. That's
Sorry,
okay.
let me bring it back. Yeah. So in your mind, where is the self-preservation in that ideology?
Well, for politicians, I feel like their self-preservation is their image. And that will keep them alive. Their lives have been so, like I said before, going back to that sort of idea of like the people in their mid-20s, early 30s, their lives are focused on living and nothing else, and not questioning it and just going on and living it well. And politicians have the same way. They need to make sure their public image is okay. So that's why the media is good for them. Any publicity is good publicity, because that means their image is at least alive.
Okay, I see.
If that makes any sense.
So then the whole goal of news, to wrap this idea up, the whole goal of news is to stay relevant.
Of course, yeah. If you're on the news, you're relevant.
So are the Democrats just trying to stay relevant?
You could say that, I guess. Like, it's... And I'm not really one to talk about, like, Democrats, Republicans. Like, it's... They all kind of blend together for me, right?
Okay.
Because I don't really have a solid political view. But I think, yes, if a party was dying, they would try and stay relevant with any means possible. And we see it in history. We have people who take people as their man and they shove them everywhere. He's all over the place. Like Andrew Jackson, right? That was like the people's man.
Yeah.
And so he was everywhere. And it's sort of made the same way, I guess. Like people will do that if they need to.
Yeah. All right. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Gavin.
Yes.
Or should I say, Hans Gruber.
I don't know why you wouldn't. Yeah, sure. Hans of the Southern Isles.
Hans of the Southern Isles.
Yes.
What is how has this experience been, man? I saw Frozen the musical when I was in Disneyland.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic show, man. It's a great show.
Ours is not.
Oh, okay.
So ours is a junior version, and those are always not as good.
Well, I did Lion King Jr. in middle school, and I thought that was a great time.
And that's middle school. I'm in high school now,
junior
year, so it's like...
Yeah.
And working with a bunch of 10-year-olds, it's hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's run through Young Rep?
No, entirely separate.
What's it run through?
That's run through the city of Danville and the Children's Musical Theater.
Oh, okay, I got you. So the same thing like that they have in San Ramon with that Children's Theater?
Yes.
Do you live in Danville?
No.
Where do you live at?
I live in San Ramon.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
So, do you mind explaining us what Young Rep is?
Oh, I'm wearing the shirt.
Heck yeah, he is.
Wore my best shirt for the podcast.
Damn straight. I wish I had a video.
Right,
so you could
of course.
see Gavin's cute face.
I knew you were gonna shove that in there. You're cute too. Okay. Young Rep is, and I don't want to sound pretentious about this because I've thought about this a lot.
The best theater ever.
It's actually a really good program. Like, and the way I'll talk about it is strange, but it is a delve into different humans. And that's what theater is. And that's what I find so interesting about it.
A delve into
humans. It's a character study, in a way.
Interesting.
And obviously there's different techniques. Like there's improv. We do improv there. We do musical theater. And it's expressing humans through different art forms. Comedically or truly dramatically.
Damn.
And that's how you hone the craft of theater. Like there's no one way to go about it. Like there's so many different options. People will do silent theater, pantomime, improv obviously usually for laughs, but dramatic improv as well. And then there's the serious plays. Like people will tell horror stories on stage, like Sweeney Todd, and people will also tell like big stories of grandeur, like Hamilton, and things that seem beyond us. So it's just. I love it because it's so multimedia. Like, it can tell any story you want it to, if you have the right writer.
Damn. And that's what Young Rep is to you.
That is what it is. It teaches you
Wow.
what theater is. Because I've had 3 years of Young Rep, right?
Mm-hmm.
My first year was interesting because I had no idea what to expect going into it. We mostly talked about moment before. And that is, before you go on stage, what is your character thinking? And that was interesting because it makes them a human. It makes them have a life beyond the stage. And so that was an important step for me. But my second year of Young Rep was really important. And I cannot explain why. But we talked about the physicality of characters. And my teacher, William Springhorn Jr., who is amazing.
That's a classy name.
It's a really nice name. But he just had this way of teaching theater that was so interesting. It was very physical, and we'd warm up every day with like push-ups and everything, and it would get us into the mood to play somebody else.
Oh my goodness.
Which sounds crazy to people who don't do theater.
Wow.
Because you have to be emotionally ready to delve into something else, because we live in our own heads so much.
So, Gavin, what does theater mean to you? This art form. I hear what you say, what young rep is to you.
Right.
What is theater? How has that changed you as a person?
It has changed me a lot, actually. I find myself being to empathize with people a lot more, because the way you do theater is you will always play a character who is objectively wrong, but you have to not judge them. You have to not judge your character so hard you don't like them, because then you won't play it right. So I kind of go the same philosophy with people. People will do things wrong, but you have to realize they have a life, and you have to not judge them so harshly for it that you will act differently because of it. And that applies to on stage and out of it. But what theater is to me is expressing a human experience, if I could put it in just a sentence.
Wow.
And it sounds super pretentious, especially when people...
I don't think it sounds pretentious. I think if you're saying that, then you're basically saying that art is pretentious.
Yeah, okay, I see that. But when people's only experience with theater is, whose line is it anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Saying it's expressing the human experience is a bit pretentious when you...
I see that. I see that. So then, continue. So it's very human. It's very human. So then, what of your roles that you've played, that you've delved into, of the human experience, what has been the most meaningful to you? Do you mind giving us a rundown of your actor's portfolio?
There was a character I played last year at Young Rep, and I forget his name, and I don't know why, but it was in a play called Two Moons, I think, or Walk Two Moons, or something like that. I don't know. That's probably a band name. But this character was returning from the military, and he has a girlfriend who he got pregnant. And in the scene, they're talking, and this is like their first reunion after he's come back, and he's sort of out of it. He's not really talking to her, and she's all over him. And at the end of the scene, he promises to come back and have lunch with her. And then he runs away. So that's a character who's so easy to judge. So easy to not like. Mm-hmm. Because you see one part of it. And that's easy to do in our own lives. So I feel like that character really did give me that first step into not judging people and then not judging characters I play.
Oh, wow.
Because they come in two steps. People would think it's easier to not judge characters, but it's actually easier to not judge people because you can see them. Characters, you have to visualize in your mind, and that's harder to do.
So, sorry, say that it's easier to judge people than characters?
It's easier to not judge people than characters.
It's easier to not judge people than characters.
For me personally, yeah.
So what judgments did you create over the character you played in Sweeney Todd?
This was not Sweeney Todd. I mentioned Sweeney Todd offhand.
Sorry. What play was this?
It's like Two Moons or something, yeah.
Yes.
Well, obviously you think he's a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
And he is, right? Like, that's his character. But you can't hate him. Because if you hate him, you'll play him a different way.
So why did he act that way? Why did he run away?
I forget exactly, because this was 2 years ago. But
I see. This
was, it was something to do with the military and his own upbringing, I believe.
Okay.
And you got to realize that people will make bad decisions. And that's why I think it's easier to do it with people than with characters. Because you have all the words, and you have their entire life on a page, which you don't have with people, but you don't see them. You don't see their facial expressions until you make them.
Oh, wow.
So that's why it's easier to judge characters.
Wow.
And even with Hans, actually, who seems like a very two-dimensional character in the movie.
He's just like, I am villain.
Yes, I want Arendelle. But you can create that even. And that is my favorite part of theater by far, is creating characters.
Damn.
I did Almost Maine. this year, Young Rep, and that is my favorite character that I've ever played. Steve from the scene This Hurts. There is character in the lines you were given, but you were given no background. You were given nothing except for the words. So
that's what I love when you were explaining me with the scene that I was
the train scene
about how
that is where I got my exercises from.
Oh, it's so like helpful. It really like the word delve into the human experience really didn't didn't register with me.
Yeah.
It didn't click until
by Adam Sandler. Yeah.
And until I went through those exercises.
It's fascinating.
So what exercise when going through that, can you talk me through how you create these characters?
Well, with Steve, and that was his name, I don't know if I mentioned it, but Steve, what you were given is that he's a brother named Rob. He has a disease called congenital analgesia, which means he cannot feel pain.
Oh, jeez.
And then you were given that at the end of the scene, he starts feeling pain again. Did you see Almost Maine at Cal High?
I did not.
You did not. Okay.
Well, I saw Jake and Devin's scene.
I think we all did. But yeah, so those are the three things you are given.
Damn.
And then there's so much you can do with those words. There's things he says that you can take two ways. I saw the production of Almost Maine, and it was so interesting to see an entirely different take on the character. Because I almost couldn't even comprehend, because this person was so real in my mind. I could see Steve.
Wow.
When I wear the outfit that I wore for Steve, I feel like him. And it's so strange.
Whew.
And so what I created for him was tragic. He couldn't feel pain. He doesn't know what the world is. The character I created for him is he's been a shut-in his entire life because of his disease. He can't get work. And the only thing he's taught is by his brother Rob, who's extremely religious and is also somewhat abusive. Not towards him, just in general. And so to play a character who's an outcast and has had a hard life but doesn't know it, that's a fascinating character, and that's a fascinating human.
Oh, wow. And there's real people out there like that, huh?
There are people like that. Congenital analgesia is a real disease. Wow. People don't feel pain.
As in emotional pain or physical pain?
And that's the thing that was up to interpretation. Because there's not much known about the disease, right?
Oh, okay.
So, at least from my relatively small amount of research on it, I did do some, but physical pain is the main one. Emotional pain is dulled, from what I can tell. So you don't feel it as much. So heartbreak doesn't exist for these people. Those experiences that shape you don't exist. You're shaped by logic. And that's crazy to me. So I made him very, not robotic, but very set in his ways. He had a motto for every single time that anything that he had happened to him. He would say, well, is there any blood? Any discoloration? Then I'm okay. And then he'd go back to smiling, and he's fine. Because that's what the character was.
Oh my god.
If he was not hurt, he was okay.
What was the scene?
So the scene, the chronological order of events is he's in a laundry room, and there's another girl there. So the play's all about love. So
yeah, because what is Almost Maine about? To preface this, give us some context.
Okay. Almost Maine is about love. All 8 scenes take place in 10 minutes. And there's this one moment in every scene where something magical happens, bad or good. So in this scene, it starts off, we're in a laundry room in Maude Dudley's boarding house, but we don't know that until near the end. So there's this girl Marvelyn there, and then there's Steve on the bench. And so at the beginning of the scene, Marvelyn's doing her laundry, and she walks over and hits him with the ironing board. And she's obviously like, oh my goodness, what have I done? I'm so sorry. He's like, I'm fine. I don't feel pain. And then she freaks out.
Oh,
because that would be so terrifying to hear from somebody. You would think that you knocked the senses out of them. So she is freaking out trying to help this man. And he's like, I'm really okay. Is there any blood? Any discoloration? Then I'm okay. And then she gets curious about him. And then he gets curious about her. Because what he says in the scene as well is, so he offers her to hit him again with one of his notebooks of things that can hurt you and things that to be afraid of. I still have those notebooks.
It's a notebook That she's hitting him with, or something in the notebook? Like,
so he writes down things that can hurt him in the notebook and things to be afraid of. So he has to go to a list to remember things that can hurt him. And so he offers her to hit him with the book. And she refuses. He's like, that's okay. Most people go away. And that's when she hits him. And
why?
Because she's curious. And he wants that.
Oh, so in the moment, she finds the curiosity.
But that's not the moment.
Oh.
The moment comes later, even.
Okay.
But there's like so many magical moments because this character could just walk away and not be curious. But there's something that draws them together. And it's Steve's striving for human connection that he doesn't even realize. Because his emotional pain is dulled. Okay. He doesn't realize it, right? Like, it's not, he's not fully aware of it. But there's something drawing him to this person who is curious about him and his struggles that he doesn't recognize as struggles. And so the scene goes on and they talk, and eventually Marvelyn has sort of been judged for her abusive relationship that she somehow spills out, and then Steve sits down, he's somewhat ashamed, he's like, that's okay, I knew you would leave. And she starts to leave. And then she hits him with the ironing board again, on accident, and he falls down in pain. And the scene ends with him saying, ow.
Oh, damn.
And you don't know anything else after that.
That's it. And then he's gone.
And then you never see that character again. Wow. So it was my job in that scene to make people curious about that character and to create a life for him after that.
Oh.
Because my mom, who saw that performance, was like, I heart Steve.
I heart Steve.
And she'll still say that. And that's good. Because that means people are connected to a character I created.
Wow.
And that's crazy, right?
That is insane.
Humans can have empathy for things that don't exist. We don't think about that often.
Oh my god.
We have empathy for video game characters. We feel emotion for people way across the world.
We feel emotion for dogs in any movie.
Any movie.
In any sense.
Even though we know they're okay. Like, that dog in Independence Day is fine.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why I will always love to talk about theater. Because it is such a fascinating thing to talk about.
So then think about this for a second.
Yeah.
I look at Heath Ledger and his performance of the Joker.
Of course,
right?
Yeah.
We feel... No, do we feel empathy for that character?
No.
That sociopathic...
And it's amazing. He made it so that a human is so unlikable that he's likable again. And that it's such a hard balance to hit.
What do you mean by that? That he's likable again?
People hate him so much that they're interested by him.
So... Whew.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's... I have not watched that movie in so long, but I've seen clips all the time.
Right.
Because his performance was amazing.
It's pretty iconic.
It's a very iconic performance.
And then we feel the empathy after he overdoses and dies.
Right.
For him, the human that played that character, that created that character.
The human who he himself did not make us feel it. Like, so us, we don't think that he did it, but he did. And so we take our empathy that we should have for a human from Joker and put it to him, in a sense.
Gavin, in your opinion, what is more powerful, the art of theatrical live theater or film? On camera emotion.
You know, I'd love to say theater, but they can be equal. They absolutely can. People would always love to put this up for a debate. Do you go to a movie or do you go to the theater? And that depends on what you want. Do you want something that's going to be perfect? You go to movies. If you want something that's going to be rough and maybe more emotional, is theater, to me. But there's audiences for each. So who am I to say which one is better? Because no one is better. It depends on who is making it and how much passion they have for it.
It's a great answer.
Yeah.
So let's go look back at the Joker now.
Yeah.
We see a Joker with no empathy, that we have no empathy for in Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen the most recent film, The Joker?
I have not, because I'm not allowed to go to R-rated movies.
Interesting.
But I know a lot about the character because I find it interesting.
When you say that, have you seen clips?
I've seen clips.
Oh, dude.
I know what happens.
That movie is just a masterpiece.
It's a character study, right?
I think that what's his face? That Joaquin Phoenix is just incredible at creating that character. The pain that I saw, and what I described it as a more of a character descent than a character arc.
Oh.
Because it's something that you feel, but
he starts out as a more complete character. He starts
out as someone who has like all these issues, who is like he cares for his mom, and then you see that this get taken away, but it's forcefully taken away through the events that take place in this movie, with the lies that he's been told by his mom, with the getting fired from his job, with the disregard people have for his mental illness.
Right.
And then at the end, because you've gone on this 2-hour journey with this character that he has created, that Joaquin Phoenix has created.
And he has.
Like, you could say, okay, when you look at that, who do you think creates it more? The writer? Or the actor?
The actor.
Absolutely.
The writer writes the words that a character would say, but the actor does a much more, I don't want to say difficult job, but much more precise job.
Okay.
They decide how they say it. And that is huge for humans.
Mm-hmm. Because we
are all about intonation.
We're more about hearing and seeing than reading, right?
Of course. Okay. That's just our base instinct.
That's just,
And that's how it goes. But that's interesting. I've not thought about the character as maybe more of a complete character and then devolving into more of a broken one.
Yeah.
And that's still an arc, but it's twisted.
Yeah. I use the word descent because it feels like he is like his being is falling into like darkness.
Yeah, his own being falters.
Yeah.
And then it takes a terrible turn.
Oh, it's such a powerful.
And that is an interesting character as well.
Such a powerful character, bro. I watched it last night.
Again?
Yeah.
Wow.
You can watch it on your computer.
I had no idea.
I'll tell you afterwards. I don't want to reveal the secret.
Oh, of course, right.
But goddamn, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It was intense. So now, Gavin, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you feel mental illness is portrayed in the mainstream? What do you think the common perception of it is?
I think it's... How do you mean? Like in movies?
In news, in how it's...
Yeah, I understand how it's saying now.
Like, yeah. I don't really know.
I feel like we only see the bad side of it. We don't really see overcoming stories. Mm-hmm. We see people who've killed themselves. We don't see people who have survived depression. We see the people who have failed. And it's tragic. And that is how we see mental illness now. Because that is what we're told. We're told that it is a terrible thing, and there's nothing we can do about it. So what? What do we do? And that's it. We leave them to wallow in misery and die. That's how I feel it's portrayed. At least in the news. In movies, they develop more of a character, again. And in theater, they develop more of a character. And maybe there is that tragic end, or maybe there is that uplifting ending where they get a better life.
Whew.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Gavin.
What?
I was told by my aunt that the human attention span is about 30 minutes.
Well, I've heard that according to all known laws of aviation, there is no way that a bee should be able to fly. So...
And with that, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me, Gavin.
Of course.
I've loved having you.
I look forward to doing this again, if you'll have me again.
Hell yeah.
Okay, lovely. Am I the first junior you've had on here, or no?
Yeah.
Wow, I feel so special.
You are special.
I'm validated right now. That's great. All right. Well, this podcast has been sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is a free online... I was hoping you would cut me off.